Welcome back to Primetime. It's Mark Shu. It's Joe Shuey. And hopefully we are the last podcast you hear this week to say, Joe, how was your Thanksgiving, man?
It was good. Went back home and visited some family. Ate a lot of good food, but getting back to work this week was rough. Having that 4 day week, 4 day weekend is a little bit of a tease, and kind of puts you in that mood where you're just like, I need a vacation.
Yeah, right. I mean, those couple days off are really nice. I had a pretty nice Thanksgiving. I drove out to the Jersey Shore. My mom just bought a house down there, and so we kind of broke it in for Thanksgiving. It's a house within the family, sort of, but anyway, but either way, it's her house now. We broke it in. I got to see my niece who's about 8 months old and got to hang out with her. My daughter was live all weekend long, driving us crazy, but it was a lot of fun. And I hope everybody out there, hope you had a happy Thanksgiving as well. We've been off a couple weeks actually, and probably for the better. I had a really rough week. The last time we were on, I think was week 11. I went 1 for 5 on the best bets. Yeah, it wasn't good. But we're back now. You know, took a little rest off. Took that Turkey Day, that extra couple days, and yeah, I'm feeling ready for a vacation here too sometime. But let's go right into it. Let's go into week 13. We've got two teams on bye. We've got the Cardinals. So you've got Kyler, Connor. You've got Hopkins, Brown, all out. Carolina, not so much, but you've got Foreman. You've got DJ Moore, and in a super flex, if you need to start Darnold, you might be starting Darnold. I hope you're not, but either way, it's still affecting us. Next week is the real big one. We're gonna have 6 next week. And they're going to be weeks that you're probably, in a lot of places you might be looking for a playoff spot. So please make sure you are ahead of the curve this week and getting your players backed up ahead of time. But let's go right into this game tonight, Joe. We got Buffalo going to New England on DraftKings. They're -4, and
FanDuel, FanDuel's -3.5.
FanDuel's -3.5. That's true. And is that's your best bet, right? Go ahead.
That is a best bet. That is one of my best bets for the week. New England hasn't looked amazing this year. They've been great on the ground, obviously, as we expect from the New England offense. But I just think that Buffalo is going to come in here. They're hot, and they're just going to take care of business. I think they're going to win by at least a touchdown or 2 here. I think it could end up in a blowout, and I think that Josh Allen is just going to have himself a game tonight.
Sure. The only thing that scares me is how close they are in the standings, and this being a home game. Bad loss on Thanksgiving night. A little extra. I mean, they both have a little extra rest, so there's not much of an advantage there. But I do. It's the reason I'm for the most part I'm avoiding. I'm still leaning the Bills -3.5. I had them at -4, but -3.5. I'll take that. Either way, I kind of want to avoid it only because I just have that fear about Belichick at home, and it just feels like one of those traps for me. But the good thing is Buffalo has kind of like figured it out. They had a few weeks that there was a bit of a rough road, and I'm hoping that this moves forward, but I can't quite call it a trend yet, and that's kind of why I'm just leaning that 3.5.
Yeah.
But how often do you get Buffalo at 3.5 though?
Yeah, I know. That's what I was saying. I was kind of looking. I was like, "Ooh, interesting." But yeah, I think after that game they had on Thanksgiving night against Minnesota, I think that there's just was that the Minnesota? No,
Yeah, well,
or was that 2 weeks
Patriots
ago?
played Minnesota. No, it was last week.
I'm thinking of the Bills versus Minnesota when
Oh yeah, that
Josh
was
Allen dropped the phone. Yeah, we didn't talk about that one last week.
No, actually I think we bet that one. I think we bet that one a few weeks ago, but
We did.
was that? I think it was 3 weeks ago. I think we
Was it?
were on. I think we were on for that week.
I'm all out of it. What the heck?
It's not. Hey, it's no problem.
Yeah,
We've been off.
that was week 10. But yeah,
Hey,
I'll take Buffalo.
we're dusting it off this week. It's all good. We'll just pull it back right now. I got myself knocked out of Survivor yesterday, so I'm ready to put a little more time back in back into this show right now. Oh my God, Shuey, it was so bad. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, I'm playing in Rocket Petrella's Fantasy Football Survivor League. Joe's played it in years previous, and he's working behind the scenes this year. And I was I was for sure going out the door, so I tried to make a play, traded all my players away to my only ally, and basically made a pretty impassioned speech to try and get myself safe, but it wasn't quite enough. I'm so pissed, but it was a blast playing.
Yeah, they said it was the best tribal speech they've heard all year, and he even got a little golf clap in the Zoom call.
There you go. I yeah, I made a little comment right before I ended up exiting that I was hoping more people would dress up for my funeral. But it was one of those things you couldn't see it coming. I was behind the numbers. We had my tribe. I felt like we had so many times that we could have had the numbers and just rolled the game. And then there was that I don't know if I should be revealing more than this, but we had that double redemption, and then we had that we had a bad riff gone bad last week that kind of just sealed it for us. So I'm out. It was a great time. But man, my time is gonna be freed up because I'm not because I'm not playing that game anymore. It was a lot of time.
I'll say from my time last year that being on the jury in that game is so much fun, and then you just get to grill the guys on camera and make them really, really stand up and put some emphasis on what their game was, and it's really cool to see those guys do that and be the one that's kind of driving that conversation.
I'm really excited about that too. I was welcomed with open arms into the jury, I guess, this morning and last night. So I'm really excited to get to know some of those guys that I didn't actually really get to play the game with. Some guys that maybe I've wronged, and try to get that back out of the way. But yeah, I'm really excited to actually talk to these people without having like a motive. It was a fun season here out there on Survivor. So if you're thinking about playing that game, I would recommend it. All right, let's go. Let's continue on into our fantasy favorites for right now. We've got 5 games that we've picked. We're calling them our fantasy favorites. Only 3 teams, only 3 games that are over 50 points. But they're some pretty nice looking games. We've got Kansas City at Cincinnati. That's our number one. Overs 52.5. I kind of feel it's not a bet for me, but I kind of feel the Joe Burrow money line, it might be the play for this game. But I don't think there's anybody that you're willing to leave out at this point on either of these teams. How about you, Joe?
No, I'm anybody that I have on Kansas City or Cincinnati, I'm playing for the most part. Curious to see if Tony gets back in action this week. He's a good flex play if he plays. Um, Hopefully Mixon comes back with the concussion. I needed him last week in a couple leagues. P. Ryan didn't quite have the huge game he had the week before, but put up some points. And yeah, I mean the Kansas City, I'm sorry, the Bengals money line does look a little enticing here, but I don't know. It's hard to bet against Mahomes. They want redemption after that AFC Championship game last year.
It's true, and for me, the best part about this game, I've got this over as an honorable mention, 52.5. I think it's pretty likely to hit. But like you said, it is a redemption. It is a redemption sort of story for KC. But I also think KC knows what they are. They already know that that home field's rolling through them. And it doesn't necessarily mean they aren't going to give their all in this game, but it doesn't mean they don't necessarily have to win it. And I feel like there's some strategy in not letting your opponent see everything that might beat them right off the bat. And I don't know. I actually kind of feel with Jamar Chase coming back, the energy that's around that, I feel like right now they're probably not hitting Kansas. Kansas City's not hitting Cincinnati at the right time.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't feel like that they have home field advantage wrapped up by any means. in the AFC here. They're only one game ahead of the Dolphins, who are tied in the AFC East with the Bills. So that division could flip flop either way. I don't know what the Chiefs' schedule looks like the rest of the season, but I mean they're only one game ahead right now.
It's true. It's true. I know. It's a risk for me to say that, but for me, I think it's pretty safe with the pedigree that they have in the years previous. I mean, this game has gone through Arrowhead the past. This would be the third season in a row, or maybe it's the fourth season. Yeah, I think this would be 4 seasons in a row that it's gone through Arrowhead. So until Miami shows me something, this is going to be an interesting game with them against San Francisco this week to see where that lies. And again, with the Bills and the Patriots playing tonight, the playoff implications for that entire division are completely up in the air. With Miami obviously being ahead, but still, I kind of feel like I'm still gonna just lean the Chiefs to win out or win what they need to keep the advantage, because I believe they have a game in no, maybe it's they have conference games in hand right now, right? They have in-conference games in hand above Miami. So it's kind of like a game and a half at this point. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, interesting here. Looking at the standings, the AFC East and the NFC East are the only 2 divisions with all teams above 500.
The AFC East and the NFC, yeah. I mean, and
who would have thunk it?
Who would have thought it at all? I mean, like, especially when you got the Giants and the Jets in both these divisions.
Jets are 7-4. Giants are 7-4.
And before we go any further, I just want to say that game that I called, where it happened, it did happen. It just happened a couple weeks later. I thought it was gonna happen. And somehow they're still competing for the playoffs. I don't know if Mike White's gonna be enough to do any of that. We'll get to that later on.
Bring back Joe Flacco.
That's right. There you go. Second fantasy favorite. It's just good to talk to you again, buddy. Second fantasy favorite. We've got the Chargers heading to Las Vegas, 50 and a half over under. I've actually got this as a best bet. It's my number 3 best bet right now. I am taking the over. I don't have any faith in either of these defenses. Herbert, I know is going to put up some points. The games in Vegas seem to be high scoring. Every single time they play there. Honestly, Derek Carr, at the very least, is going to be able to keep up with points. They've been playing hard and at least showing that they want to compete. And when all else fails, he chucks it to Devontae Adams, and that works. Josh Jacobs, I'm hoping that he plays, but even still, I don't think that's what's going to slow this game down. I think ultimately neither team is going to be able to stop the other defensively because they haven't been able to stop anyone all year.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Derek Carr, I think I was looking at it earlier. I picked him up in a 1-quarterback league this week, and he scored 20-plus points in the last 4 games. And I think he's top 25 in 2 of those. So I am definitely picking him up everywhere he was on waivers this week where I was streaming quarterbacks, and was definitely throwing him in my lineup.
Yeah, he's been a pretty, I mean, especially in Superflex, he's been really valuable here down the stretch heading into the fantasy playoffs. And speaking of 2 teams that can't stop anyone, we're going Jacksonville, Detroit, 51 point over under. I like so many players in the. I mean, I like both quarterbacks in this game. All the regulars. I like DJ Chark in this game coming back. He had a nice touchdown this year playing against his old team in Jacksonville. In Detroit. I'm really interested to see the outcome of this game. Something tells me Detroit's going to end up pulling this one out and winning it. But if ETN plays, he's a good play. JaMychal Hasty is a pretty good play if not. And yeah, I mean, all of Trevor Lawrence's pass catchers have been playing pretty well too. So there's a lot of options here.
I never want to hear the name Zay Jones ever again. His name was just all over the freaking the commentators. Just Zay Jones last week.
Yeah, well, I mean, hey, he
freaking torched us. Marcus Peters is a liability right now. It is terrible.
Yeah, I mean, do you want to talk about your Ravens for
nope,
a minute here, Shu?
Not at all.
No,
not at all.
Can you at least tell me if you think Lamar's going to
No.
play this week? Because I
Oh no
really
no no. He was a full participant today.
good because I really need him to like get back into form here. I get that their offense is they're down pass catching weapons. But I think after last week, I'm really hoping that market the Lamar Andrews stack is just going to explode this week.
Dude, Mark Andrews is really frustrating right now because he makes the crazy catches and drops the ones that hit him in the hands right in the end zone. It's like, come on.
Yeah, I mean, not much you can do about it. But I think at the end of the day, he's such a big advantage that you can stand to see him drop a few passes. And to be honest, I mean, the Ravens should have had that game. I mean, if they don't fumble that game, if they don't fumble, it does. They're not even talking about this as a 2 possession game, right? Like it's, there's
Not even the fumble. I think we had 4 dropped passes in the end zone. And then
that
we stalled out 4 times in the red zone.
yeah.
And
But
it's
either
just
way,
like,
I mean, either way, that fumble was still. I mean, that fumble was still crucial because of the implication of them getting down the field to score the 2 point.
it was, but we also had the fumble earlier in the game as well. So they kind of cancel each other out a little bit. But yeah, that the fumble was crucial there. But I mean, at the end of the day, the defense has to stop them.
You're right. No, I don't disagree. And you said you didn't want to talk, and I still made you.
No, it's all right. I've been talking about them all week, so
yeah, I think I think ultimately they'll turn it around. I feel like at the end of the day they're going to turn it around. They're just one of
I do
those
too.
teams
I think we're a playoff caliber team, but I don't quite think we're a Super Bowl caliber team. We don't have all the pieces there.
Yeah, I probably agree with that. I had higher hopes for the Ravens than that this year, but you know, it is what it is.
Get my boy Kyle Hamilton back this week. This defense is going to look good.
Damn right. Let's go ahead and move to Miami at San Francisco. 46.5 over under. I had it for a moment. I had it above this Jacksonville Detroit game, but I feel like those two defenses are so bad. I really think that this is going to be just scheme fest 2022, where Mike McDaniel is just trying to do everything he can to outsmart Shanahan, and the same is going on the other sideline. And I'm sure plenty of them are going to work on both sides. And as I'm really excited to see how this game plays out. It's probably it is the most intriguing game for me on this slate.
Oh yeah, no, this is definitely up there, but with the Kansas City Cincinnati game is like top 2 games of the week, just like for like implications for both of these teams. I mean, if the 49ers win this game, they could take a bigger lead in the NFC West. I mean, they started off really bad, and now here they are with Jimmy G under the wheel, and they're taking care of business. They're on a 4-game win streak. And then Miami, with Tua in there, they are on a 5-game win streak on their own side of the ball, and they've got all the weapons. And I think this is just pure speed versus pure speed, and it's just going to be one of those games that is just absolutely fun to watch from a fan perspective.
And we both got a best bet, 2 different ones. I'm taking the over here, Miami at San Francisco, and you've got one as well. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going to take Miami as 4-point dogs. I think that Miami can hold their own against the San Francisco team. They've shown that they can put up points against good defenses, and they can play the shootout if they need to play the shootout. So I like Miami's chances to win this game. So I will definitely take Miami at the 4-point dogs here.
Yeah, I like that too. I don't hate that bet at all. It's just one of those games that I feel like too much is on the line for both teams that I'm like too scared to play either side. But I do feel really good about that over. Last of our fantasy favorites, we've got Philadelphia at Tennessee. It's a 44.5 over under. AJ Brown returns to Tennessee. We're gonna see an Eagles team that's kind of been taking a few punches here of late. Wondering how they bounce back, but they're a little tired. Vrabel's a good coach, and I really wonder how this thing goes. Another spread that I don't feel comfortable touching. But what do you think? Do we think that the Eagles can pull it back together here? I know that they're going to be looking to target AJ Brown a ton this game.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they definitely have to target Brown a lot. I mean, Tennessee is one of those teams that they run the ball, control the clock, and play hard defense, and I think that they are slowly and quietly flying under the radar right now in the AFC. I mean, they got almost a 3-game lead on the AFC South over the Colts right now. I don't think that anyone is going to contest them to win that division. But I mean, Derrick Henry looks good. Tannehill's doing just enough. And the defense is what is keeping them in these games. They're going to be a low scoring team for the most part. And I don't know. I want to see the Eagles play against a high caliber defense and see what they can do. I mean, Washington's defense has been touted as a good defense the last couple of years, but hasn't really lived up to par. They gave the Eagles a little bit of a challenge in that game. So the big thing I've always seen on NFL memes is all the teams that the Eagles have played, and it's just like trash, 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 trash. One of the easiest schedules to start the season. So I'm curious to see what they can do against a good a good defense, and see if Hurts can kick it up a notch and take this team into the postseason. Sorry.
Sure. So we both got them as a fantasy favorite. Are there any players that you feel like you're like concerned about playing in this game? Like for me, I feel like I don't really want to play Devonta Smith if I can help it, but you probably have to.
Yeah, I mean, if I mean, most of my dynasty leagues are 3 wide receiver, 2 flex, or 3 wide receiver, 3 flex. So in those instances, I'm definitely playing him. But I think in a standard redraft league where you're running 2 or 3 wide receivers with 1 flex, I don't think he's really going to be one of your go-to plays this week.
And let's just entertain this: Treylon Burks or Devonta Smith.
Oh, that's tough. I
He's
think
got
I'll
some.
take.
He's Burks
I
got
think I'll.
something to prove.
He does. I think I'll take Treylon Burks just because Tannehill has been showing more trust in him recently. He's got the big play potential. He has made some amazing contested catches the last couple of weeks. He got the touchdown 2 weeks ago. He got the touchdown last week in the fumble in the end zone. So he's definitely getting himself involved in the mix, and I think that they're trying to get him the ball more. He's a playmaker with the ball in his hand, so I think for upside, I'm taking Burks.
Yeah, I mean that fumble in the end zone touchdown definitely saved you last week. He wasn't quite as productive as he was the week before, but again, they're looking for him to make plays. They're giving him the opportunity, and I think that's all you can really ask for. And it's gonna be, it's gonna be a Henry game, right? I mean, we're in December. It's gonna be a Derrick Henry game for them, and ultimately the Eagles can't stop the run anyway. So why would you try to go away from that? But I think if you're desperate, between the two of them, I would rather have the couple shots they take to Burks in high leverage situations. He's as a rookie, he's shown he's been all right since that injury. So I'm happy taking a shot on him. I know I probably think Devonta is the better player, right? Like the better player right now. But I think I'd rather have Treylon Burks against a banged up Eagles secondary. Honorable mention for me, real quick. I kind of like this Green Bay at Chicago game. I think Rodgers always loves to get up to own Chicago. I don't know if he does it this time, but I feel like both teams are going to put up some fight. And you had an honorable mention as well, Joe.
I did. I had the Jets at Minnesota, over under 45 points. I really like the pieces on both sides of this game. I mean, Garrett Wilson has been phenomenal. I think we might be looking at him or Olave for possible offensive rookies of the year. I think that Mike White can do just enough to give a little bit of a spark to this team. And then over in Minnesota, of course, you got Justin Jefferson. You're playing him everywhere. Dalvin Cook, you're playing him. Thielen has been useful, and Kirk Cousins is Kirk Cousins. Hasn't been sexy, but he gets the job done, especially in Superflex. But I do have
especially at 1 o'clock too.
Yes, yeah, that is go time Kirk. I did have one tough decision to make in one league. I had to choose between Trevor Lawrence and Kirk Cousins to play as my Superflex.
Oh, um,
Right now, I put in Lawrence. I
I
have Kirk Cousins everywhere, so my
I
thoughts
think
are that the
that's
Jets defense is a little bit stronger than the Detroit defense, maybe a little bit more than a little bit. I do want to see this Sauce Jefferson matchup and see what goes down there. It's going to be a fun one to watch.
so. I think it's the right call to have Trevor Lawrence in there for sure. But don't don't act like I don't know that this could be a Jefferson blow up game, and it's like he goes
Oh,
for two.
Kirk Cousins going to throw for 4 touchdowns here, and
You
I'll
know
be
what I
like,
mean? Like it's definitely in the cards just because we know Justin Jefferson is out here to prove that he's the best wide receiver in the game. This is a whether he's a rookie or not. This is a high profile matchup right here with a top level cornerback. Though he doesn't shadow, I don't think all that much, but that's fine. They're still going to be playing plenty this game against each other, I'm sure. But I feel like this is a welcome to the NFL rookie game for Sauce Gardner, behind Justin Jefferson too. So I really do like both plays. I mean like where I need to. I'm happy to play either guy, but I think probably the right play is Trevor Lawrence right now, especially if ETN comes back and is good. Although JaMychal Hasty looked really pretty good there as well. And I actually have a best bet here. Actually, we both have a best bet. We're both taking Minnesota -3. 1 o'clock Kirk Cousins can't be against it. It's my number 2. Shuey, it's your number 1. Um, why? What's stopping us from taking the Jets? Let's go with that.
I just don't think they're going to have enough offensive firepower, especially going into Minnesota. I think they'll be decent enough to put up some fantasy points for the outside guys, but I just don't see them being able to keep up.
Yeah, I think you're probably right there. Though Garrett Wilson does look really good. If they use Elijah Moore a little, if they use a little more Elijah Moore, um, I think it might be enough. He only really played like 65% of the snaps this past week. Um, if they bump it up a little more, though, it seems like they're just keeping him in the slot. Um, I like how the energy he's been playing with. Zonovan Knight. Um, I have a feeling he might be turning back into a pumpkin in this game, but
Oh yeah,
if you bid on him and you need him, I mean, go with God. Start him. If you clearly bid on him because you need a running back. You probably don't have another person to start anyway. Um, but yeah, I think ultimately, end of the day, yeah, you're probably right. They don't have enough offensive firepower, and I don't think Kirk Cousins is the type that's going to let them have a defensive score or anything like that either. Um,
before we
all right,
jump over to our best bet, the rest of our best bets, or sorry, the lowest over unders, I do have a start sit question that just came in from our buddy Alex Kurt.
go for it.
He needs to make a decision before this game tonight. Singletary or Miles Sanders?
Oh, uh, um,
That tough one.
that is tough. I feel like I feel like it has to be Singletary.
I feel like
Um,
Singletary is the safer play, whereas Sanders is more of the you don't know if he's going to get those high quality touches like he did last game.
yeah, I mean that's the thing. It's the for me it's the defensive matchup. I know that the Patriots are. I know that the Patriots aren't going to be out to stop Devin Singletary. I think that's the real thing. They're not going to be out to stop Devin Singletary. And I feel like Miles Sanders has been a more. Not that Singletary hasn't been valuable, but I really think I'd go Singletary in this matchup. Um, they're gonna need. I think ultimately he's gonna be the guy that they're gonna need to use whenever they have Diggs. It feels like for me a Gabe Davis Singletary kind of game, as opposed to like a straight on Stephon Diggs type of game here. I think the opportunities for Singletary will definitely be there. The opportunities are there for Miles Sanders, but you're seeing them use Gainwell a lot more around the goal line for whatever reason. And I know that Josh Allen's more the goal line back for Buffalo, but I just feel like I feel more comfortable. Both of these guys are safe plays, right? Like they're both supposed to be safe plays, so you should probably go with the safest safe play you've got.
I'm with it.
All right, so we're just gonna roll through these lowest over unders real quick. We got Denver at Baltimore, 39.5. Washington at the New York Giants at 40. That's actually a best bet for me. I'm taking the under there. Tampa Bay at New Orleans, 40.5. Seattle at the Rams, 41. Pitt at Atlanta, 42.5. Any of these games you feel like could break 45 points, Joe?
45?
Yeah, I mean any of them. I know it's not. I'm not just saying outside chance. Any of these,
of any of them,
we need some fantasy value from
man,
these somewhere. You know.
I would. I wouldn't. It pains me to say this, but I want to say Washington and the Giants.
What? No, Joe, don't say that. Oh my gosh, no. I see. For me, I actually feel like Pittsburgh could show something in Atlanta if they in the right situation.
See, I just called out Mark's number one best bet as unlikely to happen, and he just called out one of my honorable mentions as unlikely to happen. So,
oh well, I guess. Well, we know where this is going. But okay, for me, let's go into my best bet with the Giants. With the Giants and Washington being an under here. Washington is about to go into their bye. They're about to play the Giants again in 3 weeks, I guess, and but before their bye and after their bye. But this is a team that's tired. I get that Taylor Heineke's been there. It's on the road. Neither of these teams has really had the offensive game clicking right now. Saquon Barkley, the run game has really not quite been there. I'm hoping that Daniel Bellinger coming back might help solidify that a little more. But either way, I just have a hard time seeing this game really getting up there on the scoring side. I really think we're going to see a hard fought divisional game. Both defenses playing really well. Daniel Jones, not quite as careful with the ball as he's been of late. I think he's getting to the point where he's going to start having to take more chances, and defenses have been sort of reacting to the fact that he's not making all these tough decisions. So they're stopping the run and they're making him throw more and more, and that's allowing them to have those bad decisions. So I think for me, I would much rather take the tired Redskins at on the road against the Giants, and neither of these teams putting up points over again. Like I at least feel like Kenny Pickett is slowly starting to figure it out. The Pittsburgh defense isn't great. The Pittsburgh defense has been looking great. And against the Atlanta offense that they could end up putting up a dud. But something tells me about these dome games, they always end up being higher scoring than people seem to think. And I don't know. One of these weeks, George Pickens is going to have a game. He's going to have a game. I know it. And I feel like this is a really good spot for that to happen. All right. All right. So why are you taking the under then on Pittsburgh?
Might not have Najee. Najee has looked good in the last couple weeks. So the run game might be a little bit of a struggle. I don't think Pickett is going to be able to throw the ball 40 plus times and win a game for them. Atlanta, you don't know what you're going to get. They've been running the ball a lot, not really putting up a ton of points. Marcus Mariota broke my parlay last week on that interception.
Right.
I picked Atlanta money line, and they didn't give it to me. I had them paired with Cleveland money line over the Bucks last week, and the interception at the goal line at the end of the game killed me. But yeah, no, I think that even with Pitts not having a lot of stats earlier in the year, I do think that he was at least a distraction on the field, and a lot of teams would focus in on him as him being their best weapon. I think that takes an element away from having to defend Atlanta, and I think right now all you really got to do is take out London and defend the run, and that's really what it takes to play against Atlanta, and I think that Pittsburgh has the pieces and a good enough run defense to stuff them up a little bit here.
Yeah, I suppose that's fair enough. I I'm not saying again. This is we were talking lowest over unders, and I'm saying that's the one that I could see going over 45 if any. Um, but yeah, all these games, man, all these games are tough. I think the safest. I'm looking at these five over unders, and I'm looking at any team. I feel like the team you got to have the most confidence in to put in your lineup is probably Seattle, right? Seattle at the Rams. Yeah, I
Yeah, I
mean,
just don't. I think that the Rams are going to struggle to put up points, but I don't think Seattle's going to put up enough to break that.
yeah,
Um, I
we
can see
might
this
see
being
a
like a. I can see it being like a 2010 game or like a 29 or like a 21-10 or something like that.
Yeah, I guess you're right. So again, Pittsburgh at Atlanta, Seattle at the Rams, Tampa Bay at New Orleans, Washington at the Giants, Denver at Baltimore. Obviously, if you have must-start guys, Lamar, you've got Kenneth Walker. Obviously, start those guys, but try to bake ties against any players in any of these games. I think. So let's run out the rest of our best bets. We already went with Buffalo. We went with Kansas City, Miami for me. You did Buffalo. Let's see. I have the Seattle. I took the under in that Seattle at Rams game. And actually, it's both our number 4 best bet. Just like you said, Joe, I think ultimately Seattle's going to be able to put up the points, but LA's not going to be able to keep up. And Pete Carroll's more than happy to run Kenneth Walker into the ground, if they're not going to be able to keep up. So. We could probably move on from that, right?
Oh yeah, no, we've talked enough about those NFC West teams.
All right, well, let's wrap up your number 3 best bet. Go ahead.
My number 3 best bet, and I know I'm gonna punch myself for taking this one later, but I kind of do like Cleveland at 7-point favorites against Houston. Houston has looked bad. I think Kyle Allen is back under the helm again this week. My only concern with this is you get Deshaun Watson back for Cleveland, and how much rust is he going to have? That's my biggest concern. But I think that they're going to run the ball enough. They're going to use Chubb and Hunt, and they're just going to control the clock, control the game, and they're going to play good defense against Houston. I think it's going to be with the fastest game of the week, and I think that Cleveland will win by 2 scores.
Yeah, I think you're probably right there. I kind of like the under in this game as well. I think it's at 40. I have to look at it again, but I think it's at 46 or 47. Not that I don't think that Cleveland will put up a lot of points, and Deshaun I think will kind of have a day. Even what you're saying, if he's a little rusty, I expect his throwing to be a little rusty. His legs I don't necessarily think will be as rusty as we think, and really. With that, I think it's more you're happy to have the rest versus rust, right?
Yeah. I don't think his arm's going to be rusty. I think it's just going to be game speed rust and just having and like mental rust, trying to get up to speed with the pace of the game.
Sure. I just had that. Yep, over under 47.5. I think
I
I'm
like
just
the
gonna
under
take.
there.
I think I'm gonna have to. I would have to take the under there. I mean, who are they starting now? Houston for
Kyle Allen.
Kyle Allen, yeah. That I mean, no, come on. That's. I mean, I know it's Cleveland, but come on. Let's move along. We have. Is that all? Is that all the bets we have in hand?
We've touched on all of them.
That's it. We've hit them all.
We've
okay.
touched them all.
That's good. Guys, thanks for being out there and paying attention and listening to us. We'll get our shit together and bring it back strong next week for you. But again, Joe, good to talk to you again, man. It's been a few weeks. Again, hope you had a happy Thanksgiving. And for those of you out there, again, make sure that you're betting responsibly. Don't bet outside your means. And we're really doing this for fun. And again, let's have a good game tonight. And at the very least, Survivor's done, but I've got this Big Brother league that I've been crushing it in. So let's hope that lasts a little longer, as I probably jinx myself, and I'll be complaining about that next week. Joe, have a good one, man.
You too, Mark.
And see you all out there. Take care.